How did we go from this to this?
Brock Lesnar quickly with Kofi Kingston and a 5 by Lesnar. Here's the cover. We got it.
That's what happened to Kofi Kingston. He went from being a WWE champion to a jobber in less than 10 seconds. Let me show you how. Kofi Kingston is a Jamaican wrestler
with the people behind me and the Jamaican spirit and the heart of a Jamaican.
And get on the same page, because if we don't, aren't you supposed to be Jamaican? What happened to your accent?
Let me say that again. Kofi Kingston is a Ghanaian wrestler that has been wrestling for the WWE since 2008. He is known for his high-flying moves and feats of athleticism. For the longest time, he was known as the guy who finds creative ways to avoid being eliminated at the yearly Royal Rumble.
Oh no!
Well, that's not his fault. Gravity is a thing and he's only human. But besides that, Kofi Kingston is a decorated multiple championship holder. He has held the United States Championship, the Intercontinental Championship, the Tag Team Championship, the Tag Team Championship, the Tag Team Championship, and the Tag Team Championship. With the formation of the New Day, alongside Big E and Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston became part of the most dominant tag team in WWE history. And with that, and I'm sure many have thought that Kofi Kingston would continue his career as a tag team wrestler until his retirement. But something happened that changed the trajectory of his career. When Mustafa Ali unfortunately got injured before the Elimination Chamber, Kofi Kingston got picked as his replacement to try to win the WWE Championship from Daniel Bryan. And even though he fought his heart out, he unfortunately could not defeat Daniel Bryan, but his performance was praised by the crowd. After some trials and tribulations, Kofi eventually managed to secure his spot at WrestleMania 35 against Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship. And it is at this grand stage that Kofi Kingston did the unthinkable. He defeated Daniel Bryan to become the first African WWE champion. This was a beautiful moment and I was so happy for Kofi Kingston. Little did I know that in 180 days, Kofi Kingston would be embarrassed in front of the world by Brock Lesnar. And now we come back to this moment. This moment made me angry as a Kofi Kingston fan and as a wrestling fan, because why did WWE make their champion look so weak? Kofi Kingston did not even throw a punch. There's nothing wrong with making your champion lose. However, if you are gonna make them lose in such an embarrassing manner, it is only logical that they come back and win against the person who has embarrassed them. WWE did that with Brock Lesnar. When Goldberg came back in their first match, Brock Lesnar lost in seconds, but he recovered and got his win back at WrestleMania. But that's not what happened with Kofi Kingston. He just gave up. He didn't fight Brock Lesnar. He didn't want to get revenge. He didn't want to go after his belt. He just gave up and went back to being a tag team wrestler. The moment that made it worse was on an episode of Raw when MVP of the Hurt Business brought up the fact that Kofi lost in 8 seconds. And this was Kofi's response.
But look, it's funny that you would use that number, that amount of time, 8 seconds. Because, according to Lana, that's about all the time that Bobby can last for.
No, Kofi, no. Brock Lesnar embarrassed you. You should not be making jokes about this. Matter of fact, you should be taking this very seriously. Now, of course, I don't blame Kofi Kingston. It was the WWE creatives that put him in this position. So, why did they make Kofi Kingston lose? Well, the obvious reason is so that they could book a match between Brock Lesnar and Cain Velasquez, which, if you are not a fan of UFC, you would have not known who Cain Velasquez was or what was his significance to Brock Lesnar. I certainly did not know who Cain Velasquez was. So, they sacrificed Kofi Kingston so that they can book a UFC feud feud that nobody asked for. And so Brock Lesnar fought Cain Velasquez for the WWE Championship, and it ended up being a bad match. Since WWE creatives did not take Kofi Kingston's loss seriously, I am here to rectify this mistake. This is how I would have booked Kofi Kingston's loss and the aftermath of his loss to Brock Lesnar. So these are our limitations. Kofi Kingston must lose his belt in 8 seconds against Brock Lesnar, and Kofi Kingston must never win the belt. Let's begin. I will make one change to justify Kofi Kingston's embarrassing loss. Instead of Brock Lesnar cashing in on Seth Rollins, we have him cash in on Kofi Kingston after he has been in an exhausting match against any opponent. This will then justify Brock Lesnar beating Kofi Kingston so easily. The loss will obviously affect Kofi Kingston.
I think I'm still trying to process what I've lost and figuring out how I can get back in that title scene, because it took me a very long time to get here.
The following week, Kofi Kingston will cut a promo where he talks about this embarrassing loss and how he wants to rectify it. He will then call out Brock Lesnar and demand a rematch. Paul Heyman will refuse this rematch on behalf of Brock Lesnar and tell Kofi Kingston that Brock has much more bigger fish to fry. And here we insert Cain Velasquez. Yes, I know, I don't want him here, but we are working with what we are given. So Brock and Cain Velasquez will then go on to have their match, but the ending will be different. Instead of Brock Lesnar defeating Cain Velasquez, we will have Kofi Kingston interfere in the match and hit Cain Velasquez to cause a DQ win. This will piss off the beast. Kofi Kingston just robbed him of his big victory. Kofi Kingston will then come back and cut a promo where he tells Brock Lesnar that he will not stop until he is given a rematch for the belt. This is when Brock appears on the big screen and we see him with Xavier Woods, but Xavier Woods is on the floor. Brock Lesnar has beaten him within an inch of his life. Brock Lesnar screams, "This is what happens when you mess with the beast." Kofi Kingston quickly runs to the back, but the beast is already gone. Kofi Kingston comes back with another passionate promo. Why is the beast attacking his friends instead of attacking him? We turn to the screen again, and there is Brock with Big E, who's also on the ground, beaten within an inch of his life. Brock repeats the same words. This is what happens when you mess with the beast. Kofi Kingston again runs to the back, but this time he is ambushed by Brock Lesnar and he leaves both Kofi and Big E on the ground. The following week we come back and Paul Heyman is in the ring and cuts a promo. If Kofi Kingston wants the belt, he needs to earn his shot at the belt, and the only way he can earn it is if he goes through the beast. He needs to beat Brock Lesnar in a non-title match. Kofi Kingston accepts the challenge, but Paul Heyman warns him that this time he will lose in less than 8 seconds. It is in this match where Kofi Kingston gets his win over Brock Lesnar. It is not a clean win, but he wins the match through count out, roll up, or disqualification. This then sets up the big match between Kofi Kingston and Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship. And this needs to be in a pay-per-view, in a Extreme Rules match where anything goes. Now, this is where I would have Kofi Kingston win back his belt. But remember, Vince doesn't want Kofi Kingston to win. So we are working within those limitations. So what we have here is Kofi Kingston going the distance against Brock Lesnar. He uses weapons to his advantage. Unfortunately, he is overwhelmed by Brock's strength and dominance. And it is here, after multiple F5s, including one on the table, is where Kofi Kingston loses his rematch and we close the feud. Kofi Kingston goes out for a few months before coming back and jumping back into the tag team division, and Brock Lesnar goes back on holiday. And that's how I would have booked Kofi Kingston versus Brock Lesnar. How would you have booked it? Or do you prefer WWE's version? Like, comment, subscribe, and recommend other wrestlers that went from champions to jobbers from any wrestling company, including WWE, AEW, and TNA Impact.